I am Dr. Marlene Fawkes Griffith. I have been teaching since 1970. I've taught in the primary school, secondary school, tertiary, including Barbados Community College, University of the West Indies, University Online Campus, Erdeston Teachers Training College. I must say that I eat, sleep, and breathe mathematics. So anything dealing with mathematics is quite up my stream. I have had the opportunity also of working with CXC, both CSEC and CAPE. So I have had an extensive experience with mathematics. In terms of book writing, it was not my idea to write, but a friend of mine was writing. I had helped him, and when he was asked to write for somebody else, he then asked if I would do it. So that is where I got in. I have done, my first thing would have been the CXC practice tests. That was written for CXC mathematics. Those are multiple choice, a set of 10 multiple choice tests. That went quite well. Then Nelson's was going on a little further. So I did the Nelson's Caribbean Mathematics. This is a 3-part series, books 1, 2, and 3. At the time that I wrote this, I was teaching at Harrison College. My partner here, Mary Maxwell, she was teaching at St. George Secondary. So between the two of us thought that we could bring the learning experiences from the two levels to a happy medium. And that's where we came up with this series of books 1, 2, and 3. I know that they're used in some of our secondary schools because some schools I've been to doing teaching practice from Erdeston, and the teacher would tell the children, oh, this is the Fawkes part of the book that you're using. And then we would talk a little bit about that. So that is as far as my working in mathematics. I would say I have had a very extensive teaching in mathematics. Nelson's controlled what you did. They set up time frames for what they wanted. The one disappointment I had was that I did not do as much color as I wanted and as much diagrams because it was a restriction in publishing what goes into the book. So Nelson's really controlled that. What I did was just take the mathematics and as cleverly as we could, myself and Mary Maxwell, we put together the things. I would say it took about 2 years to complete the whole exercise, all 3 books in 2 years. In Barbados, I know that it's used in some of the schools, and teachers would tell me, you know, how they have benefited from using and the approach that we took to certain topics which they thought the children would have difficulties with. So I would say it has been very useful. Yes, people are asking me even now, why don't I do the books 4 and 5? But we had stopped at 3 because, as I mentioned earlier, the person who introduced me to writing, he already had a book which you can say would qualify for books 4 and 5. So the thing is that we would do the 3, and then his book took over after that. I really have not checked recently, but I know that Pages used to have it in stock, and Days Bookstore. I can tell you a story that I went to buy a book a time at Pages, And my niece, who I had with me, was very, so why do you have to buy the book? It's your book. You wrote it. And there were people around who looked around. You wrote a book? Okay. And 5 books were sold in that moment. Even so, one lady said, well, autograph mine. I've never talked to a writer, furthermore, a person who wrote mathematics. So I could say that even having the book gave you a certain respect from others, and you know, they see the value of your work. I do all my class notes, and so even at community college, I would have written them. I never published them, but they would have been written. I know over the years, I've seen it, I've worked with it, where people, small, big, medium, whatever, wherever you put, there are persons who are really scared of maths. You say maths and they're ready to run, they're ready to duck down, they're ready to hide under wherever can cover them. But if you look around you, and I try to encourage even my teachers who I'm interacting with at Earlston College, I encourage persons, if you look around you, there is so much mathematics. This tablecloth, this tabletop, around the sides of the table, and we buy curtains. How you know how much curtains you need to buy? We buy food. How you know how much food you need to cook? It isn't only how much or how often, it is that this subject called mathematics is so much a part of us. We cannot do without it. And I would encourage all children, teachers, parents, you are doing something in the house. Let the child measure. The child can measure with the measuring spoon. They can measure with the cup. They can weigh. They can use the scale. They can beat how much beating it needs. How many eggs do I need? Count the eggs. You go shopping. Let the child, as little as he is or she is, count the eggs. And then you can tell them, oh, we call that a dozen when they reach 12. Let them don't just walk and pick up. What's the price of that item you have in your hand, my dear? And let the child tell you the price. But you only have $5. Can that buy it? And that encourages the child then to see that they are actually using the mathematics. I gave you $10 yesterday. How much did you spend? How much do you have now? There are so much things in so many ways. In the oldest students now, even at the secondary and the post-secondary level, the students can work out how long did it take for this cord to get from one end of the room to the next. How many tiles do I need? I'm tiling this floor. The floor is, let them measure the floor themselves. Let them work out for you. Everything might not be done in the classroom, but there is so much that we can do at home. You need to go and buy your pants. What is your waist measure? And they measure their waist. They learn to use the tape. They learn to measure the length, the outer length, even the inner seam. There's so much mathematics, man. I don't know if I can stop when I start to talk about mathematics. There is so much mathematics around us. The bottle of gas, how long did that gas last? You think that I can repeat this whole process? Let them tell you. Is it time to get ready for the next bottle? All these things. There is mathematics in everything that we are doing. And I would encourage everyone, don't run from it, because it's going to keep running after you. You can't get far.